Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It is Sunday evening. It is April 27th. Oh boy, tomorrow is make or break day. Tomorrow is D-Day. It is election day. Canadians, I hope you go to the polls and make whatever decision feels right for you. I am not going to sit here and twist your arm either way. If you have not made the decision, if you don't know who you're going to vote for now, I can't help you. You know, all the information is out there. So I'm going to talk a little bit more in this video about what Elections Canada promises to do on voting day. But I live in British Columbia. We've had some very high highs and some very low lows this weekend. On a high note, Pierre Poilievre did 2 rallies here. He went to Nanaimo, and I wish I could have gone, but I did not get a chance to wiggle out of work. And the pleb was there, Mr. Sunshine Baby, Clinton Jaws, and Mr. Moose on the loose was on the loose. He was like walking around, and it would have been so great to like interview the 4 of them or do a stream with them. And in my TV world, I could just see them with their like headphones, microphones, sitting on directors' chairs in a little semicircle, doing like a panel prediction show. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Watching something like that. So it was just great to see them all together. And then Pierre did that awesome rally in Delta, and then he was off and did the big rally in Calgary at the airport hangar with his name on a plane. And then everybody started getting mad because his name was on a plane, and that's too Trumpy. When Kamala Harris does it, Mark Carney does it, everybody, everybody else does it. I'm sure Biden had a plane too. You got the money, you could put your name on the plane. That's what it's there for. What you gonna do? Put a no name? You're like the no name plane? Or whatever. Anyway, I can't carry on in this video without addressing this incredibly tragic event that happened in South Vancouver. I've lived in Vancouver, just outside Vancouver, my entire life, and I have never ever heard of an incident that resulted in this many casualties. But Kai G. Adam Lowe, he's 30 years old. He's now been charged with 8 counts of second-degree murder in the mass casualty incident at the Lapu Lapu Festival.
Overnight, at least 9 people killed and multiple people injured when a car plowed into a crowd at a block party in Canada. The bloodshed at closing time, just after 8 p.m. in Vancouver, British Columbia, north of Seattle, at the street festival where hundreds of Filipinos were celebrating Lapu Lapu Day, a holiday that honors their heritage. Police arresting a lone suspect, a 30-year-old man from Vancouver, at the scene.
Prior to police arrival, he was taken into custody by people in the crowd. The suspect.
That's interesting. Taken into custody by people in the crowd. I believe now 11 are dead, 24 are injured. People had to be airlifted and taken to various hospitals, at least 9 different hospitals. And I watched a press conference earlier this morning, and the festival was taking place inside the school grounds, because some of the reporters had brought up, well, why were there not barricades? Well, you didn't actually need barricades because it was not located where you could drive on in. But the food trucks, this happened in the food truck laneway, as you can see, which is open to traffic, because it's not open to traffic, but they didn't barricade that off because obviously the trucks, you wouldn't expect a maniac to go driving down there, which he did. Let me show you this viz here. But just a warning, this video is disturbing, but this is actually gives you a look of the area that he drove down.
We are now Fraser 41st. Emergency has been dispatched. Ambulance has been dispatched. 911 has been called.
But everybody has, I'll talk a little bit more about my thoughts on this suspect, but everybody has come out to show their support. Mark Carney said something, Jagmeet Singh, David Eby, King Charles released a statement, and Pierre Poilievre had some thoughts earlier today.
Be here today with you in solidarity after the terrible attacks that we witnessed in British Columbia. I know many of you are shocked, heartbroken, and saddened by this senseless act of violence and by the innocent and treasured lives that have been lost.
Absolutely. Innocent and treasured lives that have been lost. Let's just have a look at the man in question. This is also disturbing video, okay? There's some swearing in it, just viewer discretion.
Smile! Smile, you fuck! Smile! Fuck you, fucking say! What the fuck? Smile! Smile, you fuck! Smile! Talk just like I say. What the fuck? Sorry.
You know, sometimes in incidences like this, the suspect ends up dead or ends up being shot, and you can never talk to them. Whatever. This guy is alive. He does have 8 counts of second-degree murder. My goodness. And he's just standing there going, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's another, I saw somewhere else on X. It was just a close-up of his face. I mean, the guy is mental. Okay, there's no other polite way to say it. I don't think this is an act of terrorism. I don't know what caused him to drive down there like that so aggressively. Apparently he was driving erratically and cutting people off on the way there also. But this guy, this suspect, he's not even this guy is known to police. He's had numerous incidences with them, and he has a huge history of mental illness. So what does that mean? I don't know what his incidents in the past have been with the police, but he is known to the police. So it's up to the police to let us know. And I listened to a press conference today, and the police officer did say, yes, he's known to us, but none of the reporters said, well, what were his past convictions or what were the past incidences, because that will give you a clue. Were they violent? Was it domestic violence? Was it stealing? Was it public disturbance? Was he, running around naked in the streets? Or what was he doing? Was he attacking people? Did he have weapons? Did he not? These are important questions, but nobody really asked this in the press conference. But that is the key to what should have been done with this individual, because if he was violent in the past, then he shouldn't have been out roaming around if the police knew about him. That's the problem. The police know about him. So what do they know about him? What in the past had he done before? Because that will tell you what they need to do in the future. Perhaps that guy should just be living in a psych ward. Because he is obviously psychopathic and a massive, massive danger to society. And I had talked about this before with the notwithstanding little short video that I did, that if you are crazy, please do not be walking around in society. If you are a psychopath, and I would say that people like this, you are psychopathic. And you've now taken all these lives. So I don't know if you go to regular jail or you go to the psych ward, wherever you go, you cannot come out. I mean, I've never heard of anything like this, like I said, happening in Vancouver in my life with this many fatalities. Those lives can never come back again. They are gone forever. And there have to be immense consequences for something like that. Moving on to the election, that is tomorrow. And I mean, I don't know how people are going to vote. The polls have everybody neck and neck. I don't know if this is going to be like a liberal majority, conservative minority. I don't know. I wonder if Pierre will just eke out a win and become the prime minister. I certainly think that Mark Carney won't have a seat, but I think that won't matter. He can still legally be the prime minister. A couple things about polling. Ipsos actually called me. I'm like, oh, Global paid you, hey, to do this poll. And I answered the poll, and they were normal questions, sort of like asked me how old I was, what my income was, children in the house. Did I vote in the last election? Who did I vote for? Do I like what the Liberals are doing? Yes or no? Like agree or strongly disagree? I strongly disagree. One of the questions was, do you think the Liberals deserve a chance at another 4 years? Or it was something like that. And I was like, hell no. And who would you be voting for? I said conservative all the way. And how strongly do you want to see a conservative leader? And the high number was 7. I said, I strongly agree that I want to see conservative. And so I answered the questions and gave the guy a hard time. It was kind of funny on the phone. But I hear that conservatives don't even want to pick up the phone. I also hear that people are embarrassed to say that they like the conservatives or they want the conservatives. I know this to be true because there's a girl I work with who's like, I don't know if I like the Liberals, but I'm like embarrassed to vote conservative, because people think you're a Trumper. It is insane. You can't be embarrassed. Why are you so embarrassed? People are so embarrassed to say they're anti something or pro something. Just say what you mean. Get over that. I mean, but I know people are not like that. They think that their peers won't like them. One of my friends had said that her neighbor, who is in his 80s, was going to vote liberal all the way because there's going to be too many other cuts, and that he loves his dental care. And I'm like, oh, so he got the Sun Life dental care. Now, Sun Life is in a partnership with the government. They give you the dental care. So I don't know actually who's paying who. I'm sure the government is paying Sun Life with their tax money, which would make sense. But Sun Life also runs ads on commercial radio stations, and they have other commercials for the dental plan, like TV commercials too. So usually an advertiser pays the network for the commercial. So I don't know how the money is changing hands, but the government and Sun Life give you the dental care. So this 80-year-old neighbor of my friends was very happy that he got all his dental care. And I'm like, okay, so he's got all his teeth. Can he afford to buy food and eat it with his teeth? And she's like, not really. That's why I just say, pick who you're going to want to pick. Your decision has to be made already, right? Like there's nothing I can say to you to sway your decision. But the only thing I could say is that my son was saying, how did Pierre do so badly in the polls? Like, how did he lose such a bad lead? And I started to explain to him all about the polls and who pays for the polls. And he started to roll his eyes because he thinks I'm like super biased with stuff like that. And then I talked about Carney and some of the awful things he'd done, and he hadn't heard of it, like the Brookfield, the Chandra Arya thing, the Ruby Dalla thing, the Jared Kushner thing, the hiding of the taxes, the plagiarizing thing, the Buttongate thing, all the things, but I didn't want to, which was already overwhelming to him. But the thing that got him was a picture of Ghislaine. I said, he is in a picture. His wife is really good friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. He goes, well, I haven't seen that picture. And so I showed him the picture. And he's like, oh. And that was the one thing that made him think, oh, maybe this guy isn't who I think he is. And he had heard of Virginia Giuffre, who they say died by, unaliving herself, when she put out a post saying, I would never unalive myself. And she's the girl who's in a photo with Prince Andrew and who alleges all these things. She's done several interviews and now she's not around. So what exactly happened there? Did she know anything about our current prime minister? And why is she not here anymore? But anyway, oh man, voting is going to happen tomorrow. I always think, let's hope they count and can count properly. Here's what Elections Canada is supposed to say. Here are the safeguards they are meant to have when we go and cast our ballot and put it in the box tomorrow.
Let's look at how the ballots are counted in a federal election.
Okay.
Federal ballot counting step by step. At the end of voting and after the polls close, all ballots are counted to get the election results. The vote counting process is entirely designed to be transparent and reliable. Ballots are counted at different locations, depending on how the elector voted. Regular ballots, the ones used at advance polls and on election day, are counted at polling stations. Special ballots used by electors from inside their riding are counted at their local Elections Canada office. Special ballots used by electors who live abroad or who are voting outside their riding are counted at Elections Canada's distribution center in Ottawa. Now let's take a closer look at how regular ballots are counted. Regular ballots are counted by at least 2 election workers and always in the presence of witnesses to ensure transparency. The witnesses, also called observers, are candidates, representatives, or electors who cannot be employees of Elections Canada. Employees of Elections Canada have different roles to play. Some count the ballots, record the results, and there is always a supervisor present. The supervisor makes sure that all procedures are properly followed. Steps in the vote counting process. Reliability checks are done before the votes can be counted. The counter checks the number of electors who voted, the number of spoiled ballots, and the number of unused ballots. Once these have been checked, the counter can unseal the ballot box. The seal on the ballot box guarantees its integrity until the votes can be counted. No one but the counter is allowed to touch or count the ballots. The counter takes the ballots out of the ballot box one by one, unfolds each ballot and reads out loud which candidate got the vote, shows the ballot to everyone present, places the ballot on the candidate's ballot pile. Then, the recorder puts a mark on the tally sheet next to the name of the candidate who got the vote for that ballot. The counter shows the empty box to everyone present at the counting of the votes to confirm that no ballots have been missed.
Well, this is what they say they're going to do. I mean, when I see stuff like that, I just see a hell of a lot of human error. People always screw stuff up or miscount something. Even myself. I mean, there is nobody's perfect. I mean, but this is probably the best way to do it. This is the way we want. We want it hand counted. We want neutral representatives on either side. We want the box to be empty. This is what we hope. And we hope that as the results start coming in, which I think they start releasing them 30 minutes after the polls close, they starting to release numbers and things like that, which always also surprises me because everything moves like molasses in Canada. You can't get anything done quickly, but they're supposed to count all those ballots by the end of the night. I never have understood or trusted it, but I'm going to trust the system insofar as they are trying to be conscientious and do the right thing. But on that note, I'm going to show you this video that, lordy.
Okay, I'm here at the Willows Retirement Home in Fort Erie, and I was here because I thought the election was going to be held here the way it normally is, with a mobile poll, and it was going to be held here on Monday. But I found out from two of the residences that it was already held. Was it held on Thursday? So yesterday.
A week ago yesterday.
A week ago yesterday. And just there was some concerning things that they told me that I thought I just wanted to tape and just let some people know about this. So, Deborah, what did you find about the voting?
Well, I was about 10th in line of the residents to vote, and I got she put me through with all the paperwork, and then I sat with the gentleman, and he said to me, here's the piece of paper, and who would you like to vote for? I'll write the name down for you. I said, pardon? I said, no, you can't do that. I said, I'm sworn to secrecy. I said, I don't care. That's not the democratic way to do it. And, that's my right to be able to do what I want. And the woman that was beside him said, yes, she's right. But I was 10th in line. So like nine people in front of me had let him write the name down. So I, stood up for, I thought, my rights. And then he said, well, I suppose you better fold it in half and put it in the envelope yourself. There was no ballot box at all in sight, nothing. And I just thought that was not the right way to do it.
No, it definitely doesn't sound right. It sounds like there are some people that didn't follow the rules the way it was supposed to be done. And Pam, did you also vote on Thursday last week?
Day, and I had the same experience. I was very offended that someone was going to fill in my vote for me, because I thought that was my democratic right to do that myself and not have someone else fill it in. I was very disgusted that there was no ballot box there, and that the names were my vote was put on top of my form, although it was sealed. It was still the form I filled in was laid there, and then the vote was put on top of it, and then the next person came in, the same thing. And I came away very upset and angry, and felt that as a senior in a retirement home, my democratic rights have been taken away from me.
So after you brought it to the attention of the election workers that this doesn't sound right, I mean, it didn't sound right to me as soon as you explained it to me when we were off camera. What did they do after you explained it to them?
They seemed to pack up their belongings and all the paperwork, and off they went. I don't know where my vote went. It wasn't in a ballot box. But as soon after they found out the way that they were doing it was not to our liking and not what we were supposed to be doing, they seemed to leave rather quickly.
So do you think there are people here that did not have a chance to vote that should have?
I'm sure. Because they said they'd been here at 10:30 in the morning, but none of us had been told. So there was no one here to cast a vote.
Ooh. That's interesting. Oh gosh. Oh dear. That's not a good story. I really hope we don't see any type of shenanigans like this. Anyway, everybody get out and vote tomorrow. I mean, you made your decision by now. Nobody can convince anybody. We just have to not get too down and too depressed at whatever the result may be. I know that some people want to leave the country. If it's going to be the Liberals, I'm going to be hugely disappointed if it is the Liberals. But we have to go on and upward. After this groundswell of the support for Pierre and a big change that we all want, I think that a lot of people say, well, look at your life over the past 10 years. Have you gone ahead in life or are you struggling? And really, honestly, for a lot of the middle class and for the laptop class and for the boomers, everything has stayed the same. I cannot support a government that did the mandates, so that they will never have my vote. So that's it. I'm done and ruining the economy the way they did. But there's a lot of people in the laptop class and the boomers and a lot of the normies that just don't see it that way. They just don't see what the big deal was. Like, we've moved on. And so having a fresh new candidate like Mark Carney to them makes sense. And to another side of the population, this doesn't make a hill of sense at all. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. We'll see what I'll be watching with so much interest to see what happens tomorrow. I will talk to you later in the week. Thank you for watching this video today. If you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. More to come from me. And really, I know it sounds like so shallow, but really, thoughts and prayers are with the people who lost a loved one this weekend. We're thinking about you, and everybody is grieving with you. We are grieving with you and thinking about you.